Welcome to the final Deep Space Nine commentary for Season 1, In the Hands of the Prophets. Today I am joined by Marcelo and Earl Grey Trekkie. Thank you guys for being here. I'm very excited to watch this Season 1 finale with you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Alright guys, without further delay, let's get into it. We do the 3, 2, 1, and on go we press play. Are we ready?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go. Disgusting food.
What do you think? What do you think those things taste like?
Deja vu. Jumbo sticks probably. Well, it probably tastes like caramel. I think it's sweet, and it looks caramelly. God, I love this promenade. It's such a great set. Like the actors can walk through for entire stretches of dialogue.
I remember. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Robbie.
I remember Armin Shimmerman saying, in What We Left Behind, that he was so upset when he saw them just tearing apart the sets.
Just to think how, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but how much money could they have made just keeping that up and just having fans go in there and walk around and stuff? Like, that would have been but I guess it was stage space, so they needed it. I don't know. I wonder what went there after that.
That's a good question. Somebody should Google that.
I will Google it. It was Paramount Stage 17. It housed sets for Star Trek The Final Frontier. And it was also used for the motion picture.
Do we know if they needed, like, once they tore down the sets after the DS9 finale, do we know if they needed that specific set for another Star Trek production?
Well, they did use it for they used parts of it for Nemesis.
Okay.
The Enterprise sickbay, Data's quarters, and a quarter complex.
Kai Wynn in this scene is so passive aggressive towards Keiko. It's like everything that she says has underlying subtext to it.
You can hear the ego in every line she speaks.
Mm-hmm.
The way she speaks, it's like, to blasphemy. It's like this calm, assured way of speaking, but you're so wrong. Like I said, I think part of the reason she was cast in the show because she was so good in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as Nurse Ratched, one of the most unlikable characters. Like you love to hate her. I don't know if any of you guys seen that, but Louise Fletcher is great in that movie. She's also in The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah, I only saw Nurse Ratched. That's probably not the name of the movie. I only saw it one time as a kid, and it terrified the crap out of me.
Yeah.
There was.
I understood a Simpsons reference after I saw that movie.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Barney escapes somewhere, and Homer puts a pillow over his face. And it looks like he's dead, but he's not. But that's what... Anyway, I don't want to get into spoilers about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. A lot of people haven't seen it. and it's a surprising movie. Danny DeVito's in it too. I think is Christopher Lloyd also in that? Yeah.
I can't remember.
Dun 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 dun.
Can we just touch on how majestic this opening piece of music is for DS9? I mean, I know people listen to this, you're like, duh. But every time I hear it, it just sounds so regal and it has so much power to it.
It sounds like yeah, it does have that regal tone. I don't trust this woman. I don't something about her.
Yeah, she looks kind of fishy to me. Very fishy.
I figured it out right away. 20 seconds in.
No, and the other thing that the director of this episode does is he lingers on this specific character in several scenes throughout the episode. So, in a way, he sort of telegraphs the big reveal at the end or the surprise.
It's very obvious in retrospect because you've not encountered this character before, and suddenly she's in the spotlight in a finale.
Right, there has to be a reason that they're focusing on someone that we've never seen before. So, that's a great point, Robbie.
And it does seem odd to have this engineering plot in a finale as well.
I think the engineering plot in this episode was sort of the distraction. I think the storyline that really drives the emotional kick to this episode is the Kai Wynn story dealing with the kid going to school thing. So I think the engineering uh, storyline is sort of the distraction. But if that makes any sense.
And it's such a subdued finale, but when you look back on something more uh, majestic and high stakes ones, but this was just the beginning, really. There's a great kind of build up to the complexity of this show.
Yeah. My philosophy is there's room for all philosophies. So philosophize and figure it out.
He goes
So how
against that line later in the episode. Oh no, I think Kira calls him out for something he does later based on this quote.
think she's getting high right now?
Possibly. Those are
So
probably like some psychedelic herbs, maybe.
smoking the ether. So this is their first meeting. He's so pleasant with her now, but his patience is going to wear thin pretty soon. I like her Sydney Opera House hat. Would have been interesting to see an interaction between her and Kaiopaka, to see how they like got along. Yeah, she's high.
Rest in peace to the actress that played Kaiopaka a couple of months ago.
Yes. Dun dun dun. By the way, Kaiopaka was played by Camille Saviola. I didn't really know her name before. I love these graphics. Like so advanced for its time. Took like literally 47 hours to render those 3 seconds. I'm exaggerating. I don't know. It probably took longer than that. Took so much time to render CG images back then. Her name is Robin Christopher. Isn't that interesting? Like Christopher Robin, but reversed.
Maybe her family they were fans of like Christopher Robin or something.
She is known best for her role as Sky Chandler, Quartermain on All of My Children, One
I've
Life
never
to Live in
watched All
General
of My
Hospital.
Children or General Hospital.
She played the same character in 3 shows, or that's weird. I don't know. They had that worded strangely. I had no idea All My Children, One Life to Live in General Hospital existed in a soap opera cinematic universe. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know nothing. I don't know anything about soap operas, really. Yeah, she hasn't had a very. She only had a few roles.
Mm. Do you think that those candies have like sympathized sugar, like fake sugar, or do you think the sugar is real?
I think there can be real sugar. I mean, sugar in certain forms doesn't have to be
Right.
synthesized. I think those things that they sell at the stores are probably like the appeal of them, or that they are like things that are really made, like as opposed to replicated. So,
According to Picard and Relics, synthahol doesn't have the same effects as normal alcohol, so it tastes similar, but you don't get the usual effects.
I always understood it as the toxic, or not the toxic, the intoxicating effects are fleeting. Like you'll feel it for a short, very short time, but if you need to jump into action, like, you know, the adrenaline will just push it right out because it's not. I don't know how it works, but I do know they like their real alcohol. I'm not an alcohol drinking kind of guy anyway.
Look at how she's using that poor child as like a little as a prop.
As a human
Just
shield, if somebody tries to
yeah.
shoot her, she's like, she like throws the child in front of them. The prophets told me. That's so backwards for
Yeah.
the progressive nature of Starfleet and just the station in general.
Yeah, but she's basically burying her head in the sand, and she's trying to use religion to justify her lack of um, having an open mind.
It really is a bit silly to not a little more easily work out a system where, hey, if the Bajoran parents want their kids to learn Bajoran religion and about the prophets and all this, fine, somebody teach it. I mean, I'm sure one of the Bajoran parents can volunteer, but like Keiko shouldn't have to be forced. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the point I think they're trying to make is it's fine if they learn about it. I mean, but Keiko's teaching science and facts, and she's not going to compromise.
Keiko can't teach every perspective, and what Kai Wen was basically saying is teach what I believe and nothing else.
Exactly. It's like it's yeah, it's totally unreasonable. When really somebody should just speak up and say, "Hey, why don't one of the Bajoran parents who know a lot about the prophets do a class?" There you go, problem solved. But Kai wins all like, I don't even want the kids to know the scientific facts about the wormhole and how it works. You want to keep it a vague mystery. What's Jake doing there?
How does Jake have access to the lift? Like, don't you
Because
think
his
that
dad is the
right,
commander.
right. But don't you think
Would that
like,
be restricted though? I mean,
yeah, right?
no, I mean like just maybe not for Jake, but I mean people in general just can't just go up there, right? I don't know how it works. They never really clarify that, I guess. Then again, if you were to go up there, you would have clearance if like you were invited or summoned.
Right.
Although the level of technology in these shows
A little questionable.
is questionable, or I should say dated, because we all know that starships have records, visual records. TOS established like everything is recorded basically everywhere. Apparently, even in your quarters. But and the ship's records, so you can go back in any event that occurs on a ship or a station or whatever, and just look at what happened. That's often overlooked in a lot of '90s Trek. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you lost a thing, or like you can't figure out a thing. Look back in the cameras, dude.
But also, that says something about personal privacy and personal liberties in the Federation. Like, if you
Well,
have cameras
maybe not in your
everywhere.
quarters, but I mean in the hallways and in public areas. Yeah, sure.
Right.
That's a
I mean,
wonderful speech.
yes, it is. It's interesting how they do these shots with the map paintings. Like that's a physical prop in the foreground, I think, and then it's like panning over a map painting, and they're making the water sparkle somehow. Looks fake, but it's good stuff. I mean, because it establishes like entire vistas on a planet, which you need those
It's
establishing shots.
Yeah, it serves its purpose, right?
Vedic Brai. Brel? Brel. Excuse me, I wasn't bowing to you, sir. Know your role, jabroni. Wow.
does Cisco really believe that this guy is going to be able to help him, sort of calm tensions in the station? I mean, he has to possibly think that this is going to be like a last ditch effort, right? Mm.
I don't know. I wondered why he showed up in this episode at the beginning. I'm like, I know he's a character we get to know down the line. We've not met him before, I'm pretty sure. It's the first time we're meeting him. But he becomes
No,
he becomes a
Cisco.
prominent character in season 2, right?
Yeah, Cisco just says it right there. He's one of the candidates to become the next Kai. So maybe just based on that philosophy alone, maybe that's why Cisco goes down to the planet and tries to sway him to intervene in the conflict that's going on in the station.
Sorry, dude, it's not gonna happen. Oh, burn. His
For
face.
Isles,
I feel bad for how he leaves the show. Won't say exactly, but how he leaves the show. I felt really bad for him at the end, even though I didn't really care that much for his character. What were you gonna say, Robbie?
I was just going to say that Barile is such a one-dimensional character. Even his mirror universe counterpart is not that different from him.
He's an interesting oddity in terms of a character in DS9 because I can see how some people can like him, but I don't know. He's a little plain Jane for me. God, I love that set. That would work today. Really, the only difference is there would be better graphics and more animation on the panels. They've been on a bit of a journey this season. They've been at each other's necks at times,
Yeah.
and they're learning throughout the season. There you
I
go.
think that,
I'm
I
here to
think
build a
that
trusting relationship with your people, and I'd like to start feeling that someday somebody on your side is giving something back to that effort. Perfect. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
I think they are learning how to work together as a cohesive unit, and season one was the growing pains of that.
Yes. I like when they get in really sticky situations in the later seasons, and like they really do work very well together. This is an episode where Bashir is nice and useful and somehow not annoying. Set to kill. Somebody eating?
Not I.
Sorry, I just had to plug in my charger.
Oh. Ah. See, this is where the lack of visual record is just a weird issue. Nitpick. I understand. It's the '90s. They didn't really.
It's a little convenient from a writing standpoint, don't you think?
Mm. I won't get too off topic on this, but there is an example of this in Discovery when a certain character dies in sick bay, is murdered in sick bay, and they can't figure out who done it, and it's like you can't, the computer doesn't know who was here when. Like that's a bit weird, but It's just a thing, No big deal. It would have been nice to see her as a supporting character. I mean, she's a very, beautiful young actress. And like, if you didn't know any better, like before the reveal at the end, you would think, oh, they're setting up her to be a character for season 2. Like, they're spending a lot of time on her. She doesn't seem to be, for the most part, until the end, like a part of the main storyline. So it seems like just a supporting role that they're sticking in there. A friend to O'Brien, say. Like someone O'Brien can work with and talk with while he's doing repairs and stuff. But like, no, she's an extremist or terrorist or whatever.
Yeah, but she could have, like you said, Vijay, she could have been his confidant.
She could have been a contender. Boy, he almost kissed her just then. He's like, sexual tension. He's like, you're really pretty, I can't be around you too long. Oh, she smells like flowers. She's very pretty, though. I bet you. Did you get that he's sexually attracted to her? There you go. I mean, isn't it obvious?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was.
See, as a kid, I probably wouldn't have understood that. I'm like, oh, why is he so shy around her all of a sudden? I would probably assume he may have a crush, but like, he's actually getting like hot and bothered.
Yeah, his body language was pretty easy to read there, but for kids watching this back in the day, that might not have been so easy for them to pick up.
Does every different Ferengi have different rules of acquisition? Like, is there like an actual like an actual document?
Yeah, there are hundreds of rules of acquisition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh, it's just that Ferengis randomly quote one or the other. Like they never. I don't think they ever
Right.
say the same one more than once or twice. Like every time they reference a rule of acquisition, it's like something the writers just made up.
Right.
I
They
think
say
the implication. Sorry.
no. Go ahead, Robbie.
I think the implication is that Rom would have, changed some of the acquisition rules to be a bit more fair after he became Negus.
Mm-hmm.
In the mid 22nd century, there were 173 rules, and by the 24th century, there were 285, as mentioned in the DS9 episode Acquisition. It's a great physical effect on a set like that. I mean, it's pretty cool. They had to have like a huge physical kind of explosion or stunt at the end.
Yeah.
It's finale worthy, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you're missing is like one of those stunt people who come out like all on fire and stuff. But that would have been too graphic for this, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that fire suppression system. Oh yeah, your false empathy. Oh. God. Just love to hate her.
Yes, you do. You know,
I
but
love
that
how he
shows,
calls her out. Yeah, say again?
that
Sorry.
shows you how good of an actress she is, because you know I think that shows that you know she just really gives her all to the role, like 100%.
You know, and often good Trek actors are great stage actors, and there's a degree of imagination. I'm not saying this is TV actors and movie actors are like this too, but it's mainly with stage actors. They have like a they can dive right into the imagination of things,
Mm-hmm.
and like usually on stage, like you have to mime some things, you have to react to things that aren't really there or as big as you know. It's there's a level of realism that the actors have to fill in with their imagination, and to act very seriously in a show like this in its first season, not knowing if it will really succeed. But every actor is like just giving it everything they got in the season, despite the fact that some of the episodes aren't so great or interesting. They still
Mm-hmm.
take it very, very seriously.
Mm. No, and the you know, and the interesting thing about DS9, at least from my understanding, is that the actors didn't have like zero. They had zero room to change any of their lines. Like
Yeah.
it was really insane. You know what the writers wrote is what the actors said.
There's always a
So
Shakespearean kind of like um what's the word?
quality.
Yeah, but it's like uh like a preciseness, I guess is the word I'm using, where they say everything word for word, very little improvisation going on. It's like same thing with modern Trek. Like there's very little room for the actors to say I want to do it this way or that way. Usually, like they do what the script says because things have to be done. Like it's not a lot of time for kind of improving. You may do that on a movie. You may have more freedom on a movie to do that, but TV shows usually like this. It's like the lines are what you say, and the actors have often talked about the hardest thing is the technobabble. And
Mm-hmm.
even Brent Spiner said it would challenge the people with the best memories. Like to have these stretches of dialogue where you're just explaining science things that aren't real, and trying to make them sound relatable.
Yeah, scientific gobbledygook.
As far as I'm
Jargon.
concerned, the Deep Space Nine cast are the best cast of any Trek show, and their characters were the most well developed. Um,
Yeah.
I would agree with that 100%. I really would.
Looking at where the show begins and how it evolves and where it ends up is a fascinating viewing experience. Show also goes down in history as being one of those shows that was not really appreciated at the time. People did not to say that people didn't appreciate it, but just generally, it didn't have the love it has now. Much like shows like The Wire, which nobody talked about or was even a thing when it was airing. It only became popular when it was said and done. Never
I'm
got
not
unlike DS9 got Emmy nominations and stuff, but A Wire, which is considered one of the greatest TV shows, didn't even get any consideration the whole time it was on. So that's something. But what were you going to say, Robbie?
I'm not really a fan of Voyager, but apparently that's quite popular on Netflix.
It's a hugely popular show. It's probably the most popular 90s or Berman era Trek show, because it tends to trend on Twitter every now and again. Not Twitter, Netflix.
Netflix.
For example, around the time Picard came out in early 2020, January 2020, it was like number 7 in the top 10 trending in Canada. I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. And it's a hugely popular show. And a lot of, I like it when it becomes the 7 of 9 show, but a lot of the early seasons of Voyager, I don't really care for. Not in the way that the early season of DS9 are kind of a lull. It seems like Voyager doesn't get going for me until the Borg stuff. Once they started doing Borg stuff, I was like, okay, I'm watching it now.
Until like what? Scorpion? Like Scorpion Part 1 and 2, right?
Yeah, around there. Same thing with DS9 when I was a kid. I kind of didn't watch it religiously after the second or third season, and I would like catch up on it. And then as soon as I heard Worf was coming in, I watched it every week until it was over.
Right.
But it was frustrating because missing episodes of DS9 toward the end. There was a lot of 3-parters and even like a 10-parter at the end. You would kind of be lost.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's a great bingeable show now, though.
Yep.
Oh, excuse me. I meant to mute myself. I never want to be heard coughing. Working. Escape from New York.
Come on. Oh, come on.
Oh, thanks a lot, computer. You're real helpful.
Get there. Come on. Oh. Come on, guys. And get there. Come on.
So the plan is to assassinate Borel.
Mm-hmm.
So
which would make
Vedic
Kai
Win
the-
has the best
yeah,
chance
Vedic-
of being Kai.
Right.
Sorry, guys, if you heard that.
See, I don't understand that, but that's bad. Oh, Jesus, in the Isolinear Cobra, something cool. What are you going to do about it? I think he's onto something. Ah, that's. I like that. It's like you can't fire the weapon in the promenade, or the
Mm.
weapons detector would like go
That's
off.
a nod to the undiscovered country right there.
They also do it in the. I think they do it in the episode Captive Pursuit, where somebody comes out of the airlock and like the weapon is an alarm goes off or something. I could be misremembering that, but it's a nice touch.
Look,
Because that would be a problem if like anybody there could just haul out a phaser and just start shooting up. Like,
this is the only thing I don't like about this episode. I don't
oh yeah,
understand why. Oh my god.
the elongated slow motion.
Yeah.
Where would she get a phaser anyway? I wonder.
Maybe she got it through somebody like somebody like
Didn't
Cork.
she build it? No! Look out! She's coming right for you.
No.
Oh no. That's funny. It's like slow motion dive.
No. This scene would have played so much better if the director put a couple close-ups before she fired the weapon. Like, I don't know what the hell.
She answered their call. She thinks she's a Ghostbuster. Oh, yeah. No fooling Kira. She's like, I have you figured out. You're gonna be a villain for several seasons. Ah, she has no words. She has no defense. That's how I see it. She's just like, in other words, you got me, but I'm just not gonna acknowledge it.
No piffy comeback for you.
She's evil. Evil. The prophets, the co-conspirators. It's the age old, the devil made me do it thing. It's like my insanity is based on some schizophrenic belief that voices told me to do a thing. Wouldn't they know to treat her for like a, a mental disorder? She actually thought voices were telling her to do things.
Yeah, but somebody so psychotic as Kai Wynn would know how to hide it.
I'm
Right?
talking about the assassin woman.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Well, the same principle applies.
Yeah.
Like somebody who believes in something so much would find a way to look absolutely normal.
Until the last second.
Usually when somebody's all about like, this is the path I feel, or this is what I've been told by the higher gods or prophets or whatever you believe in. If you're a good person, then you will tend to make righteous choices and selfless acts and all this stuff. But if you're the same person who believes in the same dogma or rhetoric or religious kind of thing, you know, could totally be used as an excuse for any kind of behavior. Well, that was interesting. Thank you guys for joining me on this season 1 finale. It's been great. It's been a
You're
fun
welcome.
journey this season.
Yeah, it
You
was great
think we
being here.
think we should continue doing it with season 2?
Definitely,
Yeah,
it only gets
definitely.
better.
Yeah, it gets better. So I think so. And of course, as always, we make these things go until 47 minutes. I did a commentary with Father a couple of weeks ago, and we ended on 47:47. I'm going to try and do that again. Where can people find you guys?
You can well the primary hub for everything that I do is on Twitter, and I'm at Creek Fanatic 88. So if you go there, you'll find everything I do from my two podcasts, Radio 815, and my personal podcast, the Red Wall podcast, and my YouTube channel, Balloonhead Productions.
You can find
Awesome.
me at Earl Grey Trekkie on YouTube.
And you can find me here or on Twitter at BoatWreck1. Also, you can find me on Starfleet Boy After Dark, as well as some of Starfleet Boy's episode reviews of Star Trek Prodigy and the new season of Discovery. So look forward to Perpetual Trek currently. But in regards to season 2, not sure when we're going to start that, but we're going to take a little break. I think maybe Saturday, December 25th, 2021, I think would be a good day to start. Because then you'd have one on Christmas, then you'd have one on New Year's. And, if there's nothing happening on YouTube on those days, why don't you just listen to a season 2 DS9 commentary? That would be great. But
Yeah,
it all depends on how much you guys want to come back and do these things. I really appreciate you guys being here, and looking forward to doing more of this, and maybe even finishing the series a few years down the line. Who knows? Anyway, until next time, folks, live long and prosper.